All right, second day of coverage here in Nashville, Tennessee, and Alabama wins it tonight. And get a little reaction from Alabama beating Kentucky for a third time coming up here in just a second. This is the basketball show being brought to you by our wonderful friends at Vulcan Tire and Automotive. Remember, VulcanTireandAuto.com. We'll get to your chat in a second. Comments about what you just saw from Alabama, from Taylor Corn and myself, Jim Dunaway. But remember, when you're heading out in March, a dead battery gets you nowhere. They're ready to check your battery and do everything you need to get on the road this NCAA tournament with our friends at Vulcan Tire and Automotive. Go get it checked out right now. And they encourage you to go to any of the locations all over Birmingham and find out how your vehicle is ready for the madness. VulcanTireandAuto.com, and mention the next round and get the best tire pricing in town, guaranteed, and 15% off any service and all mechanical services right there at VulcanTireandAuto.com, VulcanTireandAuto.com. Boy, if Alabama could play
scooter crash,
if Alabama could play Texas, Mississippi State, or Kentucky every night, it would be a very, very good season. Is he hurt? Yep.
I don't know.
I think he's okay. There's some laughter going on, but he did crash hard on the scooter
crash
outside of Bridgestone here, where the party's going on in Nashville. We're just a block off Broadway. We're just out of the Alabama locker room, where the Tide players felt pretty good about what they did tonight.
They were all in very good moods. That was embarrassing for Kentucky. Like that, they had no answers, and I don't know if it was they didn't have enough depth, because you said at the end of I think it was towards the end of the first half, I don't know that they can play this pace the entire game. They're playing it right now, but I don't know that they have enough bodies to, which, correct me if I'm quoting you wrong, but you basically said, I don't know if they can keep up for 40 minutes.
Yeah, that was actually after the 12-minute timeout. It was not even halftime, because Alabama was playing at a frantic pace and substituting a lot, and Kentucky just doesn't have that depth. And Alabama wins it 99-70 tonight. And here's some amazing numbers. Alabama ends up hitting 11 three-pointers, but you were there. They missed their first 9 three-point shots.
And they were still leading the whole time, though. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah, so they were not shooting the ball well, but they end up getting 37% of their threes because they just played really good in the second half. Somebody asked me, a local media member that covers Alabama, said, was that their best half of basketball in SEC play? And I said, well, Mississippi State, Chris Youngblood was pretty good in both those games. Texas, everybody was good against
Chris
Texas.
Youngblood versus Mississippi State.
Yeah, is kryptonite versus Superman is what that is. But that was a pretty good half of shooting. But I just, back to the point, I don't know what I'm going to do with Kentucky in my NCAA tournament bracket Sunday night. I don't know how good that team is.
I don't know either, because at times they look like they can be competitive. Yep. But then, I mean, the last 7 minutes of the game, I was like, all right, let's, can we quit fouling? Because it's like, it just got to the point where it was a blowout. We knew that they were not going to come back, and it was getting late. I was like, all right, let's go live now. We know what's happening. The Kentucky fans started leaving. But I have a stat for you that I did not bring it up during the game because I wanted to
surprise me with it.
Yeah, I wanted it to be a surprise.
I love surprises.
And you might have noticed it as well, but
I bet I didn't.
Let me refer to my notes here. Up until 12 minutes and 30 seconds, do you know what I'm about to say? At the 12:30 mark in the second half, I'm reading a stat from that point in the game. Do you know what I'm going to say, or do you just want me to say it?
Can I take one guess?
Yeah. Whoa.
12:30 until 12:30, Mark Sears had not hit a three.
Well, I don't know. I can't deny it. But
Alabama had no turnovers.
No, they were nearing the end of the first half though, and they had no turnovers, because I marked it down at halfway through the first half, and it exceeded past that. But they had Kentucky had 6 turnovers, and Alabama had 0 turnovers at the 11:24 mark of the first half, and that wasn't when it ended. But that's just the last time that I marked a time down. At 12:30, At the 12:30 mark of the second half, LeBaron Philon was the only Alabama player in double figures.
Wow. I knew they were spreading it out because early in the game when Alabama had their first big lead, I went and checked, and like a lot of players had 4, but nobody was really lighting it up at that time. So at that point, Philon was the only one in double digits.
Yeah, he had 18, and then at the 12:30 mark was when Mo Diabate, he had 9 points, and it was either a layup, dunk, something like that. He surpassed the 10-point mark. He had 11 points. But up until that point, LeBaron had 18, and everyone else had 9 or less.
Yeah, Philon got the.
I don't know what's happening with this thumbs up.
Philon got the trip to the podium tonight. Mark Sears did not. Mark Sears was available first off with us in the media. We'll be sending some Mark Sears out to you guys once we're done. We've already got a little Grant Nelson out for you right there. But I will tell you that Sears, Cliff Amore, Grant Nelson, those guys in the locker room, while Philon and Jaron Stevens were at the podium, we're talking about Jaron's big game. And Al Stevenson had gone out there and for only the 6th time this year, and only the 3rd time in SEC play, Stevenson had double-digit scoring.
Really?
Only the 3rd time in SEC play and only the 6th time this year. He did it against Oregon, Rutgers, North Carolina, Asheville, and then an SEC play against Vanderbilt, and then he had 22 at Texas. And then tonight he had somewhere around, 16? Is that what he ended up with?
I'm pulling up the box score right now.
So good night for him, boy. If he could start, 16 for him. If he could start scoring, he doesn't even have to score 16. If he can just hit 10 or 11 a night.
Yeah, well, and something else that the players mentioned when asked about, why do you think that this team can win a SEC championship, or why do you think this team can win a national championship? A common denominator in their responses was the depth of the team, and that's something that we talked about before the season even started. How can Nate Oates keep all of these guys happy? Because all of them are good enough to start at, if they were to play elsewhere, they could probably start. And that's what makes this team so dangerous is there's no major drop off when you go to the bench for production.
Okay, let's get to some of the comments. Lamb Believer says Alabama has 11 ranked wins, most in the country, 10 Q1 wins, most in the country. I don't think 10 Q1A wins. Okay, Q1A, there you go. Wins, most in the country. And Dunaway continues to try and discredit all of their wins. Was this a 10-1A win tonight? I was talking about the Kentucky game tonight. Obviously, it's a ranked win.
Dunaway, they're trolling you. Don't fall into it.
My point is how far are you going to have this Kentucky team go in your bracket? I just don't think it's a very, by SEC standards, I don't think it's the best SEC team out there.
I don't think anyone thinks it's the best SEC team, but I think, in my opinion, no matter who you play, when you look that dominant in the second half, it's impressive. I mean, unless, you're playing some sort of middle school team, but
which they look like they have a couple of players who could be on the high school team at Tate's Creek in Lexington. Zach says, roll tide, roll everyone, stay safe tomorrow. Yeah, we'll echo that throughout this. Please be safe tomorrow. There is a small threat here in Nashville, but nothing like back home in Alabama. So please make sure everybody's okay and be as safe as you possibly can be. All right, rolling through your comments here. Let's get going. What's up with Jimmy and Corn? We're here now. We a little later during the NCAA and the SEC tournaments because we go into the locker room.
You said what's up, not what's up with.
No, I know. I was just letting everybody know while we come on a little bit later there. Just let everyone know. Oh, my God, the Final Four in the SEC.
Yeah. Can we talk for a second about how good these games are going to be tomorrow? The games, really all of the games.
They're all one seeds, basically, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, with Duke and Houston.
It's Auburn, and then the other three, prior to the tournament starting, it was said to be a battle for the last one seed.
Yeah, I'd like you to rephrase that, Auburn and the other three, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, because, I mean, you've said it yourself. Auburn is a lock to be a one seed, and everyone has said Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee are battling for the last spot.
I feel like...
Am I incorrect?
I feel like Florida and Alabama tomorrow is playing for a one seed.
I think that Florida and Alabama are more deserving than Tennessee is. I think that they're better than Tennessee is. Both of them. Like, I would, if I was the selection committee, I would say Alabama and Florida are more deserving than Tennessee is. Yeah. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Florida, Alabama, the winner the winner gets that final SEC, the final number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Thank you, T-Pow, for saying that. Roll Tide. State schools 5-0, and also keep up with the weather tomorrow. Yep, yeah. Everybody say weather alert there tomorrow. Boy, there's already 17 tornadoes on the ground in this storm that's moving across.
Oh my gosh, yeah, y'all, everyone stay safe.
Yeah. As we roll through these comments, remember we're brought to you by our friends at Vulcan Tire and Automotive. Vulcan Tire and Automotive. Auburn goes tomorrow at 12 noon against Tennessee. Haven't seen a betting line for either one of these yet. Let us know in the chat room if you got that.
I saw one earlier for Auburn.
And then Alabama, of course, against Florida. I asked the guys, what'd you make of their comments when I was asking them, why has Florida been a tough matchup? Remember, Florida got them good here last year.
Yes.
And now, or one meeting earlier this year, and Florida handled them pretty well in Tuscaloosa on senior night. It seemed like the guys, when I was talking to them in the locker room about that, they're looking forward to take another shot at these Gators.
Yeah. And I think, in my opinion, it was rebounding, which is something that the players touched on when they were asked. And someone asked, I can't remember who it was, but someone asked in the chat where they can find interviews from after the games. And I have only sent out one thing from Grant Nelson, but after we wrap up, you can just go whatever social media platforms you have, just go to the next round and you can find them there. Yeah. Sidebar. I think that it was rebounding, and I think it was a lot of 50-50 balls. And that's one of those teams. Florida's one of those teams where, Alabama scores 90. Oh my gosh, why are there fireworks going off? Did you do that?
I didn't do that. No.
I don't know what's happening. There's a lot going on out here. Alabama is going to score. What? Why does this thumbs up keep popping up on my face? I'm very distracted right now, and I've also slept for like 3 hours.
Yeah, for those that don't know, it's 11:54 Central Time. We were still doing interviews at 12:53.
The game, I think, was still going on last night.
12:53 in the morning last night. We were in the Kentucky locker room.
Let me say this. I don't think the issues, what we saw as issues the last time that Florida and Alabama played, I don't foresee them having the same issues. Just because I think, and this is my opinion, and disagree with me if you disagree, but I feel like rebounding, sometimes it's luck. Sometimes the ball, is placed into your hands. But I feel like what they were struggling with in terms of rebounding 50-50 balls, some of that is effort.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Alabama wasn't playing with effort when they played, but I feel like Florida, it seemed like they wanted it a little bit more.
Yeah, and some of those that night, and we see this all the time. Some of those were actually just bouncing away from Alabama players to Florida players. Some of it was hustle.
Correct.
But some of it sometimes is the rebound just doesn't bounce where you are. It bounces where they are.
Yeah.
So it's weird. You got to stop that alley oop though. That little lob to Alex Condon.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That backdoor pass.
But Bama's got it working on the alley oop to Cliff these days. That's working pretty good. And brings up a good point. Hope Alabama can win tomorrow. Just not sure anyone in the country can beat Florida right now. All due respect to Auburn. I do think Florida is playing the best basketball in the country right now. I think Walter Clayton Jr. and Alex Condon are literally on fire right now. You are distracted.
Yeah, well, look what's going on. We have people crashing scooters. We have vans that have LED TV shows and movies playing on them. We got people stumbling around. Also, one thing to note, during their game this afternoon, Walter Clayton Jr. was having it. He didn't suffer an injury, but I guess it was cramps, but he had to go back into that little tunnel hallway thing, and they were using that little massage gun and stuff. And the broadcast crew was talking about, I don't know if he's dehydrated or what, but that's something to keep an eye on because he's definitely dangerous. He hit shots from everywhere he wanted to hit a shot from when they played in Auburn. He's dangerous.
Landmine believer, since the Missouri game, which was, that will throw your defensive metrics off. Since the Missouri game, Alabama's defense is 10th nationally, according to the rankings there. Smuff, everyone's commenting about the goggles tonight, calling Kurt Rambis Youngblood in the goggles tonight. former Laker player for those that are younger than 30 years old to remember that. All right, so I hope Jaron proves me wrong tomorrow, RTD4, and he keeps playing well. Now, he struggled to put together, truthfully, two great offensive.
What is going on?
Two great offensive games back to back. We'll see what he's able to do tomorrow. Richard believes Kentucky will get bounced early in the NCAA tourney.
Who? Alabama or
Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And someone did make a point of they're having injury issues, and they obviously every team's going to be better when their players that spend a lot of time on the court are healthy. But yeah, I do agree, and I think that's kind of what you were saying when you were talking about the concern of them being able to keep up. Is they are without some bodies that they started the season with.
Landmine Believer believes Florida and Alabama are playing the best basketball in the country right now, with Alabama's win at Neville coming off of that right there. Florida will be a monster from Bingo. Nate Oates owns Mark Pope from Morgan there. And it's just one of those nights where a lot of things went right for an Alabama team. Well, you had no expectation for Alabama's fan base tonight. Obviously, it was sold out tonight, 18,000 strong, and Kentucky had a huge showing. But I didn't think that many Alabama fans would be here. I knew there'd be a lot of Alabama fans here, but it wasn't 50-50.
No.
But when Alabama would score, it was extremely loud.
Yeah, it was really loud. It was really loud. And I said that I didn't have an expectation. Like, I didn't think about it prior, so I wouldn't say that it over-exceeded or under-exceeded my expectation, because I just, that wasn't thought that had crossed my mind. I hadn't pondered
a lot of
how many Alabama fans that would be there. But, yeah, they were loud. And
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all over the arena. It surprised me because Kentucky usually buys all the extra tickets, but Bama was here represented. And now, if you want to come up, weather permitting, Saturday.
Yeah, all the Kentucky fans are going to be selling their tickets.
The ticket price just went down. So I know Auburn did it last year, and a lot of Auburn people are probably buying their tickets right now. Tennessee fans have a lot of tickets for Saturday and Sunday, but there are some tickets available if you want to make the drive up. Get here tonight, stay safe up here with us, and get ready to watch some basketball. Okay, tomorrow we'll have time between games to jump on with you live after Auburn, and then we'll be live after Alabama to get your comments out there. But we'll also do a little work in the locker room first so we can get some post-game sound for you guys that you guys enjoyed so much last year in the postseason all the way to the NCAA tournament. So we're trying to keep that tradition going, because really more than these live shows here, y'all really liked our locker room interviews last year, so we're trying to keep that going. J-Mac says, great. Grant and Mo D need to step up tomorrow. Grant and Mo D need to step up tomorrow.
Oh, wait. I have a Mo D compliment that I literally wrote down.
That's why I set this up for you.
Really?
I knew
have you been reading my notes?
No, I just knew you said you wanted to say something about Mo D earlier today.
Yes. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I would have forgotten. There was, I don't know. I didn't mark down the time. That's irrelevant. There was a point in the game that he made a shot. He made a layup. He was the first. So obviously he's the furthest away from the defensive end of the court. He's the one that scored. All of his teammates are, closer to midcourt than he is. He turns around, is the first one back on defense. He's the first one back and looks to be set and in his proper position that he's supposed to be in. And then he gets the defensive rebound. And I was like, he just scored, ran back, and he hasn't eaten today because he's fasting. Or I don't know if fasting's the right thing, but that stood out to me. That was an individual play that's not like a dunk where the crowd goes wild. But I was like, he just scored. He out-hustled all four of his teammates on the court to get back on defense, and then he's the one that got the defensive rebound. I don't know. That stood out to me.
And what do you get when you do all that?
You get a blue-collar point or a few. I don't know the calculation system.
You actually get the hard hat if you get enough of them. And when I walk by the training room, he's slumped over. He's getting an IV.
Poor guy.
But he has a hard hat on.
Oh, he has it on?
I think he had the hard hat tonight. I have not seen officially who had it, but Mo had it on him while he was getting an IV post-game in the training room as we were leaving the locker room. probably for plays like what you were just talking about.
No, it was. I want to go back and find it, and if I don't know if Alabama would have posted the whole sequence on Twitter, but if I can find it, I will go back and I will send it out because. Oh, we're live right now.
We're live. Thank you, man.
That's okay. No worries. If I can find it, I'll send it out because it was very impressive to me. Yep. And so, Mo, if you're watching while you get your IV, great work.
Speaking of watching, Hunter, big fan of the show from Huntsville, says he's walking down Broadway watching and listening to us right now.
Oh, we're on Broadway, I think.
No, Broadway's on the other side.
Okay.
But he's walking down Broadway with all the Kentucky fans leaving with two fingers up saying he's just trying to be we'll just use the D word, eggplant emoji.
Okay.
Anybody got 2 tickets? Anybody got 2 tickets walking by all the Kentucky fans?
It was probably 25 seconds into the game, and I was walking to where we were sitting, and there were Alabama fans and Kentucky fans from 2 sides of the aisle, and they were already going at it. I was like, all right, well, the Kentucky fans were probably quiet for the majority of the game after the first encounter, about 25 seconds. You don't
get to beat Kentucky 3 times in one season very often.
Celebrate the heck out of it.
That's right. And Taylor a couple of times shot video of them leaving the arena at different times early. It
looked a lot more dramatic in person, and then I shot the video. I posted it on our Twitter if you would like to go see it. But I was kind of underwhelmed by the video.
But in person, it looks like everybody's leaving at one time.
And they were. I was like, I don't know. The video was just, I don't know if it was an angle thing or what. I tried a number of times to set the scene for all of you. I don't know how great of a job I did, but I tried. Give me a hard hat point. Give me a blue color point.
I'll have to go back and watch this to see how scary you were to the guy who was walking up here smoking a cigarette, and you were just like, we're live right now. Usually they keep walking when you say that, but he took
keep walking where?
They keep walking and get into the shot, but you said we're
he was
live
trying
right
to have
now.
a conversation.
I know, and he turned around.
And we're here for these people.
I know. He turned around quickly and left like
I mean business.
He was not gonna take any shit from you, man. He was like, I'm out. Oh no.
Well, no, I didn't mean to be rude.
No, I don't think you were.
Rude.
I think you were forceful. I don't think you were rude. I think you were like, I'm live right now.
Well,
we're live right now.
Yeah, well, I obviously get distracted very easily, so I'm like, if I have to start having see.
I mean, how loud is those motorcycles? They're speakers.
Yo, I wish that we could have a dual camera, one facing us and one facing the street.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on out here. It's a good time. I'm having a blast right now. But
thanks to our friends at Vulcan Tire and Automotive, vulcantire.com, vulcantireauto.com.
Yeah, and everyone stay safe. We have a great day of college basketball tomorrow. We're so excited. I'm speaking on behalf of the both of us. Yes, squirrel, Brock. That's what I feel like right now because I was literally about to say fly because there's one bouncing around on our screen. We are getting silly now. We're sleep deprived, guys.
We are.
But we're really excited for tomorrow. We will be live. I think you already said this, but after both games. And tonight, for those of you who are going to stay awake after this, we'll be sending out sorry, something just got in my eye. I think we need to go. We'll be sending out the players, oh my God, from the locker room shortly after leaving here. This couldn't have gone any better. Thumbs down.
VulcanTireAuto.com, VulcanTireAuto.com. Mention the next round and get the best tire pricing in town guaranteed and 15% off all your mechanical services. It's VulcanTireAuto.com. I can just sit here and watch you giggle all night.
Well, like there's so many things happening. There are so many things happening.
Both our teams won today.
Woo!
Final 4 of the SEC are all 4 top seeds. We'll do it tomorrow, 12-3, and hopefully we can get another Auburn-Alabama game on Sunday for the championship. If that happens, you and I will not talk on Sunday.
Well, no, this is the thing, guys. Dunaway likes to present this as something that it isn't. He presents these things in a false light. we had a conversation before entering the Alabama locker room, and I said, Dunaway, you go out of your way to piss me off. And he told me that he's just trying to prepare me for the real world or something like that. And I was like,
I'm giving you reps for the real world.
Yeah, but people that I pass on the street aren't just going to like know how to press my buttons. You know how to do it, and you do it for your own entertainment. And I'm not entertained by it.
Go ahead and tell them my quote during the Alabama-Kentucky game.
Okay,
Go ahead and share
I wasn't going to bring it up.
For those that are here with us after midnight.
We'll leave you with this because I would like to go home and go to sleep at some point. But
this is true.
I'll leave
it's a
you
true
with
story.
This is a real story.
It's not an embellishment. This really happened.
We're sitting watching the game.
Yep.
And Dunaway, during I believe it was during a timeout, just looks over and goes, why does it feel like everyone's against Alabama? And I said, what are you talking about? We weren't having a conversation. Or why does it feel like everyone hates Alabama? And I was like, where did that come from? And he said, I mean, just listen. And the Kentucky fans were chanting whatever their chant is. And I said, well, yeah, they're loud because I still have something in my eye. So if I start like crying out of this eye, ignore. I said they're cheering because they're watching their team play a basketball game right now. So that's typically, what a fan's going to do. And he said, but it's so loud. And I said, yeah, they're excited. These are fans. They're watching their favorite team play and they're excited. And he said, well, why do they sound so aggressive?
They were being really aggressive.
They were literally saying, go Big Blue. No, go Big Blue. In a loud
people right behind us were being mean. They were like,
what were they saying?
They were just.
You are so sensitive. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Why does it feel like everyone hates Alabama?
They do.
Because they're cheering for their team?
No. Nobody wants Alabama to win this thing again.
I could say the same thing about Auburn. And Tennessee fans could say the same thing about Tennessee, and Florida fans could say the same thing about Florida. You are victimizing yourself so much right now. It's unbelievable.
That was the first button I pushed tonight. It's been downhill ever since.
No, that wasn't a button push. I was just like, what are you talking? Like, you just say things sometimes. And I told him, I said, if you say that again, I'm gonna bring this conversation to public light. And he was like, oh, whatever. And then he said it again. And then he said it again and made it a public conversation. He brought the comment public, and then he brought it up again. So I don't know.
I guess as they're pointing out in the chat, I guess I couldn't play guard at Auburn for Bruce because
you literally got offended by the opposing team's fans cheering. They weren't even chanting. They weren't chanting what the Alabama fans were chanting when the Auburn players took the court. They were cheering for their team. They weren't saying anything towards Alabama. They were uplifting their team.
They were so aggressive.
They were so aggressive, y'all. They were so aggressive. Like, what are we doing?
VulcanTireAuto.com. Do us a favor. At some point next week, go by Vulcan Tire and Auto and say next round. Just say next round and get an oil change, get new tires, get something. And that helps us out so much. All right. Here we go.
I hope they all enjoyed this as much as we did.
We'll do it again tomorrow. After an Auburn game and an Alabama game in the semifinals, and we'll see who's here for the championship. That's the basketball show, everybody.
Have a good night. Stay safe.